On your fitness and health and wellness journey, there's two things that we engage in, just two. Stress, the active work that we put into the journey of improving our health and wellness and fitness, and recovery and rest. That's it. It's those two categories. It's the simplest way to put it. Anything that you do on your journey fits into one of those two categories. Now, we talk about fitness and health and wellness a lot of the times as two separate things, right? As if building muscle mass and improving your health are two kind of separate things, right? You have the fitness side and you have the health and wellness side where you fix all your chronic health conditions and things like that. And then we have fitness, which is just about athletic training and performance and the way your body looks and this type of thing. And really, we have to do a better job of merging these things together and putting more of an emphasis on self-care and risk management, optimizing our rest and recovery to make our efforts and the stress that we put ourselves under more beneficial. Right? So we're not wasting so much time working ourselves and slaving ourselves to death in the gym or wherever you're training, right? So just those two categories. Okay, the stress and the work we put ourselves under, and the rest and the recovery that we engage in afterwards. A good rule of thumb is to focus on recovery at least twice as much as you do focus on the work. Okay, rest and recovery is actually the primary goal that we really should have. Okay, the work that we put ourselves through doesn't really particularly last that long, right? We're talking about like resistance training, weightlifting. I mean, these sessions can last anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. That's typically enough, right? When it comes to high intensity interval training, for example, 8 to 12 minutes is enough. It's not really particularly that long. This high intensity training, I mean, 60 to 90 minutes a week is enough. Now, when it comes to rest and recovery, well, that's a lot more prolonged, right? This is 8 hours, 12, 16 hours at a time, depending on how your day is set up. I mean, just the time you sleep at night in and of itself should be at least 6 hours, if not 8, which is more preferable for most people. Sweet spot would particularly be around 7 hours. This is way longer than any cardio session or any workout you would possibly do. That's the importance of rest and recovery. Your efforts and the stress you put yourself under don't really matter if you're not resting and recovering adequately. There's no increased bone density. There's no improvements to your connective tissues. There's no muscle growth. There's no improvements in blood sugar management, blood pressure, vascular health, none of that. I mean, you can't even really regrow your hair if you're not resting and recovering, okay? So what I want to take time to really do in this session is focus on how to optimize rest and recovery. And we're going to start particularly with diet as the foundation. If I had to simplify what your diet plan should look like, it should be an energy-dense diet that is really geared towards relaxing the body, providing your body with safety, an abundance of energy and resources that are easily and readily available. So this is going to be a very water-rich, fruit-dominant diet, really high in carbohydrates. We're talking about a minimum of 50% coming from carbohydrates, but more so, I think the sweet spot is in between 60 and 65% coming from carbohydrates. Your protein doesn't necessarily have to be that high. For most women, it'll be somewhere between 40 to 60 grams of protein per day. And for men, it'll be somewhere around 60 to 90 grams of protein per day, generally speaking. And then for dietary fats, for women, it'll be somewhere around 40 grams of fat, maybe 60 grams of fat. And then for men, it'll be somewhere around 60 to 80 grams of fat per day. This should be, generally speaking, a water-rich diet and a fiber-rich diet. I'm a big fan of the fruit because essentially what you're doing is you're hydrating your body via your food. Your food choices can dehydrate you or rehydrate you. One thing you do not want to do is be in a state of dehydration, because dehydration leads to increased cortisol and adrenal output. Dehydration leads to higher blood pressure, which puts you more at risk for having an elevated heart rate, heart palpitations, anxiety, high cortisol, all this type of stuff. It's a major stressor and causes major vascular constriction. We want relaxation. And with foods that hydrate you, these foods are also abundant in electrolytes, right? So we're talking about an abundance of your potassium, your magnesium, right? We're talking about an abundance of important minerals, copper, manganese, phosphorus, things of this nature. And of course, trace amounts of calcium. We don't need a lot of calcium in our diet. What we need is the minerals and vitamins that preserve the calcium structures that we already have in our body. So this will be the things like the magnesium, the manganese, the phosphorus, and the potassium. Having an abundance of calcium in your diet can actually backfire. We don't want high levels of circulating calcium, because that's basically just providing an abundance of calcium to then create stones that can really create blockages and sludge in your gallbladder, increase the risk of atherosclerotic plaque buildup and things of this nature. We don't want that. We don't need a lot, we just need enough. Then there are important vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that are specifically geared towards not only just recovery, but improving your brain chemistry. So some things that we really want to focus on here is vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B6. Okay. So that's going to be your thiamine, that's going to be riboflavin, folate, pyridoxine, however people say it. Those B vitamins are really important for your energy metabolism, which is needed in order to regulate your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands, that whole HPA axis that your brain chemistry operates on. We need healthy levels of magnesium and zinc, which is needed for the proper conversion of certain amino acids and things like that to create certain hormones. So aside from the B1, the B2, the B5, B6, right, these types of things, vitamin C. That vitamin C is really important for maintaining healthy adrenal glands, so we don't have overactive or underactive adrenal glands. We want the right amounts. We want accuracy. Right? That accuracy gives us stable brain chemistry, which is the foundation for relaxation. So when in terms of stress management, we need calm, we need stability, because the exercise, right, the intense cardio sessions, the busy work schedule, the raising kids, these things really ramp us up. These aren't calming things necessarily. Right? These are going to be things that really ramp up that adrenal output. So we need our diet in order to help facilitate relaxation and calm. This is where we drop our blood pressure. This is where we get a lower resting heart rate. This is where we get better blood sugar control. This is where we get better insulin sensitivity and all of this type of stuff. As far as amino acids are concerned, you want to have a diet that is rich in phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. The phenylalanine converts into tyrosine. The tyrosine is the foundation that we need in order to have healthy levels of dopamine synthesis. Dopamine is the reward hormone. This is the hormone that allows us to feel reward, to feel achievement, right? So we can really pursue the process of self-improvement, and it feels like how it should feel. It gives us something to strive for, where we can feel that sense of achievement and stay motivated on the journey. Tryptophan is really important for serotonin and melatonin synthesis. The serotonin and melatonin is needed for comfort, relaxation, mental and emotional stability, resilience to stress. We need this in order to meditate, in order to take naps, in order to sleep at night, in order to get deep sleep and REM sleep at adequate levels. That melatonin, that serotonin is really needed for that. Typically, if you're getting enough protein in your diet by proxy, you'll also be getting enough zinc, and you'll be getting enough magnesium in your diet, as well as selenium. Now, selenium, you may fall short depending on food choice. So as far as selenium is concerned, which is really important for maintaining healthy levels of testosterone, protein synthesis, and things like this, right? That selenium is really important for growth and improvement overall, right? As well as thyroid health and adrenal health and, free testosterone, estrogen, progesterone health, etc. Like the selenium is really important for that. So good sources of selenium are going to be things like Brazil nuts, oats, tofu, black beans, and sunflower seed kernels, just to name a few food choices. Zinc is pretty easy to get. You can get that pretty much from all of your nuts and seeds, all of your legumes, and all of your whole grains, and you'll even get it in trace amounts in your fruit as well. We get deep here in the Tribe by Noir community with conversations like this. We go over live diet planning, supplementation, training strategy, fasting strategy, mindset and self-development, live Q&A, all of it. In addition to that in the community, we also have the High Raw Vegan Nutrition Guide and Tribe Flex training series for building muscle mass and strength and flexibility and things of this nature. We've got the Mindset and Self-Development video series, Discover, Assess, and Actualize, the 3 steps to self-development, the only 3 steps to self-development. So if this is the type of stuff that you really want to get in on, definitely hit the link in the description and join the community. And I'll see you on the other side. Now, building on top of diet, once you have a solid foundational diet, you can start building on top of that with things like herbal supplements, herbal teas, or just even supplementation with certain minerals and amino acids, for example. So I'm going to start with something more on the natural side, and that's going to be your herbs, right? Your herbs and spices and roots and things like this. When it comes to supplementation, it's really important what you do in the beginning of the day and how you end your day. So how you start would be with things that are rich in something called L-theanine, which is really important to regulate neurotransmitter activity in your brain, right? So we don't want overactivation and underactivation. We need more stability. And L-theanine is really good for that. L-theanine can be found in abundance in things like green tea, matcha, which is a type of green tea. It can be found in ginseng and ginkgo biloba, oolong tea, things like this, or just oolong in general. These are very rich sources of L-theanine, rich in antioxidants. So having things like that, whether it be in a capsule, whether it be in a powder, or whether it be in an herbal tea or something like this, these things are really important for brain chemistry, particularly in the morning. Okay. Every morning we get ambushed by life. You wake up, sun's in your face. You don't know what time it is. Your body has to ramp up all of this energy to get you up out of bed in the morning because you haven't been moving or doing anything while you've been sleeping at night for the last 6 to 8 hours. So that's what I mean. So when you wake up, it can be pretty stressful first thing in the morning, right? Get up, go. So when you have something like that matcha in the morning and you combine that with like ginger, which is really good also for hormonal health, right? I personally like to do a teaspoon of matcha powder and a teaspoon of ginger powder first thing in the morning in my herbal tea with a drop of liquid stevia. It's a great morning drink to do for me personally, to really wake my brain up and get some focus and stability. And then I sit at my desk or I do my work, check emails, plan out my days, things like that, revisit whatever I need to do and sip my tea while I'm at it. If you have, let's say, high blood pressure, you're insulin resistant, something like this can also be really beneficial for you. And then you can combine certain forms of supplementation with it. For example, chromium picolinate, which is really good for energy production inside your cells. This is really good for blood pressure, specifically for insulin sensitivity, right? That chromium picolinate, 500 micrograms, is an adequate dosage. You can run that for 12 weeks and then reassess your outcomes at the end. This is really good for weight loss as well. So chromium picolinate, you can also combine that with zinc supplementation. If you are diabetic, you probably are a little low in zinc. For a man, if you have low free testosterone or low total testosterone, you may have a deficiency in zinc. Maybe, not necessarily, but maybe. But supplementing with it can be very beneficial, specifically for recovery, rest, mental health, as well as improving blood pressure, blood sugar, all this type of stuff, right? A lot of benefits of doing that. So you can do zinc picolinate and chromium picolinate. For most people, in between 15 milligrams to 30 milligrams generally is enough. For women, 15 milligrams is okay. 30 milligrams is a little high. But if your diet plan is rich in copper, like you get an abundance of copper in your diet, then you can supplement with higher dosages of the zinc because you don't have to worry about the zinc driving you into a copper deficiency. This is really easy to do on a high raw fruitarian style diet. You can also supplement with berberine, where you can mix berberine with your matcha and ginger tea in the morning or ginseng in the morning and things like this, right? So berberine also works. You can also supplement with ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a very powerful adaptogen, right? So if your energy is low, your mood is low, you're not really engaged, you got brain fog, all this type of stuff, supplementing with ashwagandha can be very beneficial. We're talking about anywhere from 1 gram to 1.8 grams, basically 1,800 milligrams of ashwagandha in the morning. Can set you off on the right path in the morning. Vitamin D supplementation also could be really beneficial, especially if you're not really getting that much direct sun exposure and you're deep into the winter time. Like now, where, for example, I'm in a region of the world where, the weather is hovering in between 10 and 20 degrees outside, where the ground is fully covered by snow. Vitamin D supplementation is really good, preferably in the morning with a meal that has some dietary fat in it, right? So, for example, the coconut yogurt bowl with an abundance of fruits and hemp seeds and this type of thing. That's a really good meal to combine vitamin D supplementation with. Low vitamin D is a thing that's actually very common in those of us who are melanated, right? Typically of African descent, those of us who are dark skinned, especially for women. A vitamin D deficiency can lead to chronic anxiety, depression, restlessness, heart palpitations, excessive weight gain, chronic inflammation. I mean, everything you can think of that can go wrong. Hormonal disruption, where you have low progesterone, low testosterone, low everything, right? Just a really poor output. So vitamin D is really, really important for rest and recovery and maintaining adequate, resilient mental and emotional and even spiritual well-being. Vitamin D isn't really a thing that comes from food. You can get it from some foods, but it's a thing that your body makes on its own when you're exposed to the radiation of the sun. Vitamin D is also synthesized in things, for example, like mushrooms or algae. So you can get vitamin D2 in your diet let's say, mushrooms. You can eat mushrooms where when they get sun exposure, they make their own vitamin D, particularly in the form of vitamin D2. In the modern world that we live in, it's very convenient to just supplement with it. Of course, if we live the way normal human beings are supposed to, we'd spend a lot more time outdoors and we could just rely on the sun exposure. But we got to adapt. So what this looks like is vitamin D3 supplementation, at least 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 per day. Okay. If you are fair skinned, you're more of European descent, specifically Northern European descent, 2,000 IUs would generally be enough. 5,000 IUs can actually be considered high for you. But of course, it depends on the individual. For those of us who are of African descent, dealing with obesity, insulin resistance, high blood pressure, things like this, we can do 5,000 IUs and even 10,000 IUs. You can get a pretty significant dosage. If you want to run a higher dosage, you don't have to do this perpetually all year long. You can do, let's say, 12 weeks at a time. You can implement a 12-week plan of a specific dosage. In plans for me personally, I typically don't advise people supplement with more than, like, let's say 10,000 IUs on a daily basis. If you're going to supplement with vitamin D, you want to make sure that you're getting adequate levels of magnesium in your diet. So we're talking about at least 420 milligrams of magnesium in your diet per day. You can also supplement with it. If you're going to supplement with it, ideally, you would supplement with, let's say, magnesium glycinate or magnesium biglycinate. Glycine is a really important amino acid which reduces inflammation in general, has protective effects for your liver, your kidneys, and all of your other vital organ tissues. Glycine is extremely important. So if you're going to supplement with magnesium and vitamin D together, you can take unflavored magnesium glycinate and you can mix it into a smoothie, or you can mix it into your coconut yogurt bowl with your fruits and things like this, right? And You can have that and basically injecting some extra glycine and magnesium into your food while supplementing with the vitamin D. So that's a nice little stack there that you want to consider. As we close out the day and get ready for bed, there are certain forms of supplementation that we really do want to consider. To maximize sleep quality, you can supplement with ashwagandha before bed at night. This can be like 45 minutes, 30 minutes before bed at night. Supplementing with anywhere from a gram to 1,800 milligrams of ashwagandha. Or if you're doing like a liquid ashwagandha, right, in a drop form, do about 1 milliliter. What is it, like 1 milliliter of ashwagandha straight in the mouth, underneath your tongue, however you want to do it, before bed at night. Another thing that you can do is you can get a little bit more potent. You can develop a little stack for yourself where you're combining different types of supplements. On the one hand, we have something called 5-HTP, and this is a type of tryptophan where you can get tryptophan from your diet and that converts into 5-HTP inside your body. And this is really important for having the best quality sleep you can get. So we're getting that adequate level of deep sleep. So deep sleep should be preferably around an hour and a half per night. REM sleep should be around an hour and a half per night. For me personally, I get like at least an hour and a half. Sometimes I'll even get 2 hours of REM sleep and like an hour and 45 minutes of deep sleep. Sometimes I get really, really heavy sleep, right? But generally speaking, it's 3 hours of the two at a 50-50 split. That's where I get that hour and a half measurement there. On top of that, we got light sleep, and light sleep would be somewhere around 4 hours and change to 5 hours, where wake time would be anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes a night or something like this. That's generally what it looks like for me. That's what I would consider to be optimal sleep. So tryptophan, that 5-HTP, you can supplement with that to improve the quality of sleep. The duration doesn't mean as much. The quality is the thing that's the most important. So you can have high quantity but low quality. So the 5-HTP helps to increase that. My advice is to start small. So you may want to start with a dosage of 100 grams. Generally speaking, when it comes to the supplementation of 5-HTP, you would start with a smaller dosage, somewhere in between 100 milligrams and 200 milligrams per night. The most potent versions and the most commonly found versions are the ones with 200 milligrams of 5-HTP. Some even come paired with vitamin B6. Now, if you're having let's say a fruit-based high raw diet, chances are you're getting an abundance, a really high amount of B6, especially if you add in bananas. Okay, bananas are a very rich source of vitamin B6. So if you want to maximize the effectiveness as far as your utilization of your dietary tryptophan and this type of supplement, adding bananas as a daily staple in your diet plan goes a long way. This next supplement is very interesting. That is GABA. Gamma aminobutyric acid. You get an amino acid called glutamate from your diet. Glutamate is an excitatory mechanism. This is really important for mental focus and learning, neuroplasticity, this type of thing. Now, normally what your body does is it takes a portion of that glutamate and then uses it to create GABA, which has an opposite effect. GABA is calming. It's actually a really important key to actually falling asleep at night. Now, if you experience insomnia, you're up late at night and your brain is racing. You got a lot of different ideas in your head. This can be a result of you just having high levels of glutamate circulating. And that's keeping you excited. Maybe you're not converting enough of that glutamate into GABA. You can supplement with that GABA. Anywhere from 100 to 500 milligrams of GABA, right? You can do, let's say, 200 milligrams or so of GABA along with the 5-HTP. And this is really interesting because the 5-HTP improves your quality of sleep and the GABA helps you to fall asleep faster. This is really important also if you're trying to make yourself have an earlier bedtime. Maybe you're used to going to bed at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., something like this, and you want to start going to bed around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night, right? You want to change your circadian rhythm to a healthy schedule, right? So in that case, you may want to consider supplementing with the two together. These suggestions are generalized to work for most people on average. But for you, things may be a bit different. You may need something a little bit more specifically tailored for you personally. So you have a few options. I do daily coaching and consultation calls with people one-on-one to speak more so towards your needs as an individual. So you can actually hit the link in the description of this video to book a call with me, or you can sign up for personal coaching to get a tailor-made plan for you specifically for your goals, your struggles, and your specific individualized set of circumstances. So definitely hit the link in the description of this video, and I look forward to talking to you soon.